1960. Welcome everybody inside Game Day After Dark. My name is Darren Bombing, soon to be joined once again by our old friend Zach Schnitzer. We were both at the game. I jumped out of there a little bit early. Did not have eyes on the Demiro Houston interception in the end zone late, which sealed the game for the Blue Bombers. But man, is Demiro Houston ever looking like the second coming of D. Alford. Now, DeAndre Alford, who of course signed with the Atlanta Falcons after 1 year in the CFL, he actually liked the tweet I sent out when I stated exactly that, which says a lot about the teammates and the camaraderie and the support Blue Bombers players, both last season and of course this season, really have for one another. Great to see everybody watching live on YouTube and Facebook. Transcona Pauly, Fritchie, our good friends, everybody joining us live. Paul, the Barflies, Hadley is in the live chat tonight. Great to see you guys. Tao, Zen, Bob, Molly. Well, I think that is our friend Friesen once again. Now he's Bob Molly, Chris Walby's other buddy. Check out the pregame show for some fun we had with that a little bit earlier. Carl Kopp and tons of others joining us live, Tristan Rivers and the rest. Thanks, everybody, for joining us here. What a game this was, 26-19. It was tied 13-all at the half, and just an absolute battle and a war between two teams, as I mentioned, that do not like each other. I coined this game the Canadian Mafia matchup because it was just a couple years ago where Stampeders head coach Dave Dickinson, who is an American with an American GM and John Huffnagel, were caught on the parabolic microphone. What's the parabolic microphone? It's that, clear dish that the broadcaster on the ground holds to pick up sound, like when you watch CFL Wired on TSN. And they caught Dave Dickinson in a game against Winnipeg saying, the Canadian Mafia, like those guys get away with it once again, right? And well, since then, the t-shirts have been made and everybody's been having a lot of fun with that. But it is kind of a cool American versus Canadian rivalry between these two teams, the Calgary Stampeders and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, who you could say, now that the Bombers have two championships in back-to-back seasons and are now once again on top of the CFL heap about a quarter into the 2022 season, that Winnipeg now is the new dynasty in Canadian football, taking over from Calgary, who was the previous dynasty, perennial contenders for the Grey Cup for so long. And well, I was looking forward to this game like so many others. And what an unbelievable crowd at IG Field. It was hot. It was muggy. It was intense. And an attendance of just under 30,000 is the best attendance in the Canadian Football League so far this season. And as it says right there on the barricades on the sidelines at IG Field, the CFL's loudest fans. They were on display. You were on display big time on Friday night. What an unbelievable presence that sound brings when the opposing offense is on the field. Early in that game, we saw Levi Mitchell and the Calgary Stampeders offense really struggle with some of that sound. They had to call a timeout early in the first quarter. I think it was their first possession. That really set the tone for the game. And well, what did we see? We saw Levi Mitchell. I'm just going to pull up the live stats here, everybody. Levi Mitchell, well, his numbers tell the story, but I don't think they tell the entire story. The reality is that he had a lot of drops tonight. I would say about 5 or 6 drops from his receivers. But look at that. 12 of 28 passing for 187 yards. A quarterback efficiency rating for Levi of 62.6. And, I think if I zoom out, I can get the actual completion percentage, which was 43%. So well below 50 was Levi on Friday night. And just like their playoff game back in 2019, Bo had a bad day against the Blue Bombers defense. Winnipeg came to play, except on special teams. There was a lot of blunders in this one. Mark Killam, the Calgary Stampeders special teams coordinator, got the best of Winnipeg and Paul Boudreau Jr., Winnipeg special teams coordinator, and just the Winnipeg special teamers themselves. A couple real game-shifting plays on Friday night at IG Field. And some of the ones that stand out to me are, of course, the Peyton Logan punt return touchdown that was called back due to a penalty on Charlie Power, I believe it was. Charlie Moore of the Calgary Stampeders. That was a roughing the kicker penalty. Leggio really collapsed to the ground. Didn't look like too much of a flop or acting job to me. That was one of those plays I think made a huge difference in keeping Winnipeg ahead. That led to a Winnipeg Blue Bombers touchdown that would have stopped because of a 2-and-out and a punt. But then there was Greg Ellingson after that roughing the kicker penalty, 16-yard catch and run down to the 3-yard line. Augustine pounded it 2 yards. In comes short yardage quarterback Drew Brown of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. He punches it in to put the Blue Bombers ahead 2016. And, I think really their first lead, they had a 3-0 lead. They had a 13-10 lead in the second quarter, but really I felt Calgary was in control for a lot of this game. And then into the second half, Winnipeg really started to flex their muscle, especially on offense. How about Carlton Agudosi? Let's talk about this guy. Cut from Blue Bombers training camp this season. He was in Blue Bombers training camp in 2021, hung around the practice roster, didn't make it into a game. And Mike O'Shea talked about this earlier this year, as well as after the game tonight. Agudosi, in the words of Mike O'Shea, busted his hump and has been busting his hump for a long, long time to get into the lineup. And man, he came to play. Let's look at the receiving numbers. 6 catches on 7 targets for Carlton Agudosi, 70 yards, including 2, you'll see right there, second down conversions. That's really, really big. But look at this number, 7 second down conversions for Greg Ellingson. I would not be surprised in the least if Greg Ellingson is a CFL top performer for week 6. 11 catches on 14 targets. You don't see that too often, nearly approaching 15 targets in a game. 152 yards, averaging 13.8 yards per catch. When you catch 11 balls in a football game, that's absolutely lights out. Once again, thanks to everybody joining us here on Game Day After Dark. Let's bring in the man. Is he ready? Is he excited? It's been a while. Here he is, Zach Schnitzer, here on the program. What's going on, Schnitz? What's cooking? Other than you at a very hot football game tonight.
Holy Dinah. It felt like the old Roman Colosseum, Darren. It was cooking. People were sweating.
Yeah.
Blood in the air. It was great. What? I mean, I'm sorry I missed the beginning.
I'm going to cut you off quick. Bring that microphone nice and close to your mouth so everybody can hear you.
Geez, I've actually forgotten how to do this.
Yeah. Well, it's been a little while. You've been gone. You want to catch everybody up? What's happening?
Yeah. Well, what did you call this little part of your neck where you get a little hair?
The babinka. The raspberry babinka. When you get a suntan right there, like a piece of pie, you kind of go like, oh, look at that. It's a little slice of raspberry babinka cake. Just an old thing me and my buddies do.
I like it.
We were kids.
It's got to be close to the babinka. I've forgotten a couple things here. I'll square myself up. Wow. That is the type of game you never forget, Darren. The battle of the unbeatens. I mean, the crowd.
Pure entertainment. The crowd,
the entertainment, buddy. The crowd was absolutely rabid tonight, and they were affecting Calgary's offense.
Yeah,
big time.
Yes, they were
big time. Like we could have a 5-hour show here, but we can't. But my goodness, what a game! And I just loved it. So I'm happy to be back. I missed everybody.
Good to have you back, man.
What a great night at the park. I brought my brother who pretended to be a fan. He's not a sports guy, but even he said the atmosphere was amazing. The fans. He said, I don't remember it being this fun back in the day, because he used to come with me and my dad. And
Right.
I said, Ben, it wasn't this fun.
Yeah.
It wasn't this fun back in the day. This team is unbelievable. So anyway, Darren, what a game. What a game.
I'm still going to get you to tilt your mic. So like the top of that microphone, get it right pointed at your beauty kisser there, buddy, and we'll make sure we can hear you loud.
How's that?
That's probably
Let's
that's
get
going
this.
to be good.
Let's get this right.
Yeah, absolutely. We want to hear
How's
you.
that?
I was just talking about Carlton Agadosi when you came on. So what a CFL debut. Like this guy shows up first time in a Canadian Football League game. And yeah, 2 touchdowns is great. Like those, clearly Zach Collaros has a new fade route favorite target. Like what a red zone weapon that is, to have somebody who can elevate above the defender like Agadosi can. And I think of the first one in the south end zone that really lit the crowd up. The first touchdown of this game, if I'm not mistaken. That put Winnipeg back up in this game. Regardless, the way he twisted his body to get position on Trey Roberson to pull that catch in, like unbelievable play. Man, oh man, he looks like a real player. And this guy, was kind of just waiting to get healthy and waiting for his opportunity. Carlton Agadosi sure arrived on Friday.
He was unbelievable. Now I'm hearing from some experts and some people on the team. It was an OPI. Other fans,
there was jersey pull there. There was jersey pull.
There was a jersey pull there, but I didn't actually see it, but I thought, Darren, like it's like when they used to call the unnecessary roughness hits on Bufflin because he was just so big. It just always looked like a penalty. When you have arms that long, if you're hand fighting, it's something that OSHA will want to look for, because I don't want them to target Agadosi, but man, what a debut, eh? 70 yards, 2 touchdowns. That second touchdown was just a thing of beauty.
Yeah, just like it's like his hands came kind of out of nowhere and just plucked it out. Like, some people don't like it when I say this, but like every quarterback misses. Doesn't matter if you're Flutie or Brady or Manning or Damon Allen or Anthony Calvillo, you miss once in a while. Zach Collaros misses, but when he misses high. Yeah. Have you noticed that? I've always noticed that, even going back to his time with the Hamilton Tiger Cats, but definitely here in Winnipeg, he misses high. Well, if you're going to miss high, it's nice to have a 6'1", 6'2" Greg Ellingson going across the middle. It's nice to have a 6'6" Carlton Agadosi with clearly some athleticism to elevate and get to the football. And if you miss high, I don't know if a DB has a chance at that ball. The receiver knows where the ball is going to be better than the defender. And if it's high, I would give the receiver a much better chance of winning a 50-50 than if it's low and that DB can kind of, wedge his body in between the receiver and the ball.
It's a great point, Darren. You know that Collaros is just money on all those details, right? So he's thinking about that. He's coached up that way that if he's going to miss a ball or he's going to take a chance, it's going to be in a place the DB can't get it.
Yeah. Andre, good to see you in the live chat, my old friend from our trips to Regina and the Labor Day Classic. Am I saying Collaros misses when he's high? No, I'm not saying this. I have heard people around the CFL call the league the Cannabis Football League. That we will leave for another conversation. But no, I'm not saying that. I'm saying when he misses high. And it's probably a good thing too. Love everybody joining us in the live chat here. Everybody conversing with one another and jumping in to join us. Thanks for supporting us here on Bonfire Sports. Anything else stand out to you, Zach, from your perch in the stands tonight, outside of obviously that crowd noise and talking Agadosi here?
Well, I know we leave this to the end usually, Darren, but I've got to give my happy honker out right now.
Right now, okay.
Right now, because my happy honker goes to Mr. Andrew Hustler Patterson.
Okay.
So this was the TSN turning point in the game. Mark Leggio misses a field goal, 36-yard field goal in the third quarter. misses the field goal, and everyone's like, "Oh no, that was bad," because it was a close game. And I don't know his first name, but the Calgary player Moore, first name starts with a C. Charlie Moore. This also might be my Westwood wide to the right, Darren.
Yeah, well, our TSN turning point. Yep.
Bonfire
Bonfire Sports,
there, right?
fire starter. Yeah.
Rolls into his legs, and Hustler, because Hustler was sitting in front of me because he took his parents' tickets, and he's sitting with none other than Jim Toth.
Oh, so look at that. Our old 1290 pals, hey?
Yeah, the hair of Toth. You had Hustler. The Winnipeg sports legends were right there. They just needed you down there, Darren, but you were doing important work upstairs, right? So
I don't mind working during games. I do miss enjoying the games, like with my friends, with the fans, with some cold ones. I miss that a heck of a lot. But when you get to do this for a living, I wouldn't trade it for the world. It's sometimes, but it's a good trade-off, you know?
I gotcha. Oh, Fritch 101 was sitting in 129. So yeah, you saw the two of those fine fellas. And you know what's fun is Hustler was just having, like, he is a fan, right? And he's a pro, but he was taking videos of the big moments in the game. He just loved it. But anyway, he as soon as Calgary took that penalty, he turns to me and he says, "Winnipeg's going to score a touchdown." And I'm like, all right. He's like, just book it. Like, this is crazy. He just couldn't believe that Calgary did something that boneheaded.
Yeah.
And to me, like, that's what it came down to this game. Like, the game story for me, Darren, is if you look at time of possession and first downs and yardage, Winnipeg
2-1, nearly
Winnipeg, you could argue, dominated. But the special teams, big plays and gaffes and penalties, wow, did that ever make a difference? You look at that, what was it, 27-19 is the final score. 10 of those points came off Winnipeg special teams turnovers. Mm-hmm. You had that Janarian Grant fumble, which led to that first Calgary touchdown. By the way, the Calgary punter, wow, can he sky those punts? Like, I don't know if that makes a difference for...
No, he's got an absolute cannon of a leg.
My God. But special. And then Mark Leggio almost had that punt blocked, and then he runs out of the way, gets brought down, and then Calgary gets 3 points off that at the end. And something to talk about as we go on is, could Winnipeg have prevented that with seconds sort of clicking down on the clock, Darren? The end of the second quarter, 1 second left, when I think it was Carey that went down. My God, just a wild swing. But I had to throw in Hustler there because I just thought, he's like, wouldn't you know, Winnipeg's going to score a touchdown right here, buddy. And then that was the Drew Brown quarterback sneak.
No, I mentioned that before you jumped on, like how that was a real game-shifting play. And, well, like you mentioned some of those numbers, and people are already talking about the penalties and everything. Look at the first down numbers, 26-14 in favor of the Blue Bombers. And passing first downs. Like, Calgary really struggled throwing the football tonight. Yeah, Beggleton and Henry, those, like, they got their work in. I think Kamar Jordan had 1 catch on 7 targets. Those are the dangerous 3 in the receiving game. Yeah. But look at this number, 18 passing first downs for Winnipeg, 9 for Calgary, and just 4 rushing for Calgary. Like, Winnipeg had 6 first downs running the football. Like, I get it, you know, a little short yardage and that sort of thing, or Augustine coming in to punch it in for 2 to pick it up on second and short. But like, Kadeem Carey had a monster game tonight, over 100 yards rushing, great average. Just 4 times they were able to convert a first down running the football. Second down conversion rate, 62% for the Blue Bombers, 25 for Calgary. Net yards, 334 for Winnipeg, 277 for the Stampeders. And then, well, this is one I know we're going to talk about at some point in the show, Zach,
Yeah.
and that is the Blue Bombers' run game or lack thereof. 110 rushing yards for the Stampeders tonight, 45 for Winnipeg. The other number I wanted to touch on as we kind of go through these stats here is, well, yeah, I guess you can't see it. It's right there at the bottom, but maybe you can see it there. 22-45 to 37-15 was time of possession. So nearly, not quite, but nearly 2-1 for the Blue Bombers. And then this one right here. The Stampeders took 10 penalties for 70 yards and some really, really costly ones at important times. Winnipeg was disciplined and sharp.
Yeah, they sure were.
Yeah, Mike O'Shea's probably cracking a cold one to this tonight. 6 penalties for 42 yards for the Blue Bombers. That was working really, really well in their favor. And it was another thing O'Shea mentioned after the game, Zach, was how, you can't make mistakes against a team like the Calgary Stampeders. They will make you pay. We saw it right at the end of the second quarter. We saw it at some other junctures in this game, including, one shot to Malik Henry, 24 yards.
Yeah.
And then Rene Paredes able to kick a 50-yard field goal to, grow a 7-6 lead to 10-6 early in the second quarter. Some moments in that game where you're just like, wow, could have been so much different if one penalty didn't happen or one first down didn't happen or one close play went the other way. What a football game.
And that's a story, right? I mean, sure, special teams were big, but special teams are a phase of the game, right? They're an important, especially in the Canadian Football League. We love that, but what a game. From a fan perspective, that was about as good a regular season game as you get, maybe unless the Banjo Bowl is a close one. But my goodness, you're playing Calgary. And someone said this this week, the fan rivalry with Saskatchewan is huge. I mean, that's unmatched.
That's why I'm wearing green tonight. Everyone's giving me grief.
Yeah, I know they are. Let it go, people. He's got a bonfire thing on there. Come on.
It's just a shirt.
The fan rivalry with Saskatchewan is the biggest, no doubt. But the team rivalry, I would say, is even bigger with Calgary. And my goodness, what a game. Like, what a game. Almost 30,000 fans on a hot Friday night in Winnipeg. Oh,
this is one of those, wouldn't you agree? This is one of those games I think fans will remember. Like, you remember that super hot day where the Bombers and Stamps battled to see who was unbeaten and Winnipeg moved to 6-0 for the first time in forever? 1960. Holy cow. Like,
yes.
Can you believe that? They haven't been 6-0 since 1960. That said, they have played a lot of East Division teams. 2 wins over Ottawa, a win over still winless Hamilton. So all of those, their first 3 wins came against teams that are still looking for their first win this season. Narrow margin win in Toronto, a place where Winnipeg just never seems to play very well. They go put the boots to the previously undefeated BC Lions. That was a big win. And then just one where they got the job done tonight. Big win for the Blue Bombers at IG Field. Final score 26-19. And again, I think it's one people will remember for a long time.
Well, and Darren, and people need to remember too, this team has played 3 games in how many?
Yeah, right.
How many?
They had that short week in the middle.
Like, crazy grit that this team has. And Calgary was no joke. Like, they were coming. This wasn't last year's Calgary. This was a Calgary team. Quite frankly, I picked Calgary. I picked Calgary to win.
To win this game?
Yeah, because I thought this home winning streak is going to end at some point.
Remember you telling me that earlier today.
I might have been telling you that earlier today, but the dark side defense shows up again. There was about 4 minutes left, 26-19, and I got up on my chair because I usually do it about once a game, and I holler at Logan and Dave and the boys and all sorts of people in my section, and I say, make some noise. It's time for the dark side D. And the dark side, they eclipsed the Calgary Stampeders at the end, buddy.
They did.
That we got to talk about that pick by Houston. Like
At the end. Yeah, I was mentioning I left early so I could race home. I moved recently, as well. I know you know, Zach, but for those out there, I used to be really close to the stadium. Now I'm pretty far. So had a bit of a drive and wanted to beat the traffic. So I raced out of there with like 90 seconds left and was able to get home before you, Zach. Hey,
yeah, you
how about
did.
that? But either way, I missed that Demiro Houston interception. So describe it for us.
Well, I've actually never seen anything like it. Was it Kamar Jordan in the end zone?
It was.
So Kamar Jordan, you think he's coming, and this was after the Jeff. So the drama here is huge, right? Calgary's coming to tie the game, as Calgary often does. If you look at the last few games between Calgary and Winnipeg, they're always a one-score game. Always a one-score game. Jeffcoat takes a roughing the passer penalty that really, in my opinion, from what I saw, he shouldn't have taken. That was an avoidable roughing the passer, and I think that would have kept Calgary. It might have been third down, but so anyway, just after that, it looks like a touchdown. He loses control. It looks like it hits the ground, but it goes off his hand. It pops up. He never has control. And Demiro Houston, who also could get a happy honker, also could get a Wallabies warrior. He was fabulous tonight. And he picked that ball off, and that was Sweet Caroline. That was good night. That was good night. And you know, it was interesting because I wouldn't necessarily even call that a drop. I think it was a tough catch. But I had Calgary dropping the ball. Calgary receivers dropping at least 5 balls.
I think 5 or 6, yeah.
Tonight.
Unbelievable.
Which is very un-Calgary like. Yeah. You saw Kamar Jordan, you saw Beggleton had a good game, but
I'm gonna pull this up right here.
Malik Henry. Yeah, there you go. Perfect.
Check this out. Like Reggie Beggleton, 5 balls targeted to him.
Yeah.
He did not catch. He had 4 for 82. Malik Henry, 4 catches on 8 targets, 53 yards. Like they had good games. Hakuna Vanu, 1 for 1, fine. Kamar Jordan, 1 catch, 7 targets. 6 times the ball did not end up in his hands. And then Bain also had more missed targets than catches. But it all goes back to the number I talked about right off the top here on Game Day After Dark. 12 of 28, 43%. Levi Mitchell was 187 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Of course, that interception happening in garbage time, but it still led to a real heck of a football game. And I mentioned it kind of in my preamble, Zach. It's incredibly cliche at this point, but the bend but don't break of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers defense is what it is. They don't allow touchdowns. They find a way to keep teams to kicking field goals. It's really something.
Well, and we got to talk about that sequence where Calgary turned it over on downs. Yeah, what were they from the 5-yard line? They run. I think it was first and 4. Carey gets 2. Then they bring in Tommy Stevens, the backup. He does an RPO. He pulls it back and throws it, and it was off the mark.
Right.
Like, what are you doing? That reminded me of the 2019 West Final when Macadone put in Brian Bennett. And remember that when they were in the red zone? It was second down or first down. He pulls Fajardo, puts in Brian Bennett, who used to play for us.
Yep.
And I believe it was Jonathan Kongbo sacked him for 6 yards on a broken play. Like what? Like, that's where coaches outsmart themselves. Like, just put in your short yardage team. You're on the road. You're against this dark side defense, and the backup throws a pass. Like, and then the last play in that sequence, what was it? 2 Calgary receivers colliding, and they turned it over on downs.
Yeah, I pulled up that comment from Barflies, who mentioned that earlier in the show. That was Reggie Beggleton and Malik Henry. That was 3rd and goal right? Like Winnipeg did a great job on, like a kind of a weird play action fade route to the like goal line deep
Yeah.
left.
Yeah.
Winston Rose was able to keep that cover, but it wasn't on target. I don't think it was
It
catchable.
wasn't on target.
And then another passing play that fell incomplete, but two incompletions. And like this was after huge chunk plays.
Yeah.
Like Calgary was fine. Like you look at the numbers, they're not great, but they allowed huge explosion plays. Henry 14 yards, Carey ran for 27. That got them to the Winnipeg 5. And then, like Danny Austin, good friend of mine, does a great job covering the Calgary Stampeders beat for Post Media in Calgary. And, he said to me, like, how many times have the Stampeders been in goal line situation? They have the best running back in the league in Kadeem Carey, who, by the way, tonight was awesome for the most part.
Was. Yeah.
And they gave him the ball once in a goal line situation.
Yeah.
Like, look at these numbers. It's off the charts. Kadeem Carey averaged 9.2 yards per carry. And it's not like he had 3 or 4 touches, like 12 carries for 110 yards, had a, long of 29. I think he had another of 27, as I mentioned. And then, caught a ball for 13 yards in the passing game as well. There, you can see it now. So I don't know why. Maybe Dave Dickinson was kind of playing 3D chess and trying to think one step ahead of Richie Hall. Like Winnipeg's goal line defense and short yardage defense is always very good. Like when Big Hill comes barreling over the top and you got big push from the guys on the edges and in the middle. But maybe Dickinson was thinking they're expecting Kadeem Carey to get the ball. So let's try some play action. Let's try some creativity. And then you mentioned the quarterback there, Stevens. Like he is a monster. 6'5", 245. And a quarterback.
Fall forward, buddy. Touchdown.
That's a grown-ass man. Fall forward. We'll give it to Kadeem Carey. He can push the pile 2 or 3 yards. I know maybe it's tougher in a goal line situation, but, run him off tackle. Find a way to get the ball in his hands. I was really surprised they didn't use Kadeem Carey more, but worked to the Blue Bombers' advantage. They were able to, shut down Calgary and make them settle for threes.
Bend but don't break. They keep him out of the end zone. It doesn't always look pretty, Darren, but I do like your 3D chess comment, my friend.
Well, sometimes you can overthink yourself, right? Like you can try to be thinking 1 or 2 steps ahead of your opponent and you end up, stubbing your own toe because you're not looking where you're walking yourself. But like I'm blown away by the live chat tonight. Everybody is fired up. Huge Blue Bombers win tonight, 26-19. They're 6-0 for the first time in 62 years.
Yeah.
62 years ago, the Blue Bombers were 6-0. 1960. That really is something. Everybody in the live chat wants to talk about one of 2 things: a good news story and a bad news story. Demiro Houston is the good news story. There were those back-to-back plays late in the late in the second quarter, where he had 2 near interceptions on consecutive plays. And I sent a tweet out at that time. He's going to be thinking about that series of plays for a long, long time. Like that's going to be going through his head tonight when he hits the pillow. Then had the interception, had some key pass breakups. And I mentioned this off the top when there was, people were just kind of joining us. Awesome numbers tonight. Thanks for joining us here on Game Day After Dark. Find everything you need, bonfiresports.ca. There's your shameless plug, and we'll move on. But Demiro Houston, I called him the 2022 version of DeAndre Alford.
I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah. Now signed with the Atlanta Falcons. And what an amazing season he had next to Dietrich Nichols for the majority of the year, moved over to the field side for the Grey Cup and the playoffs when Winston Rose came back from Cincinnati. And, he's proven himself, and now he's going to prove himself in the top league in the world, in the NFL. So kudos to him. But Demiro Houston has clearly been working and clearly been putting in the time to elevate himself. Like when you bump Winston Rose came and bumped DeAndre Alford to the field side. And for those who are unfamiliar, we'll just lay it out here. Boundary side and field side. Your boundary side is your best side. That's where you get your one-on-one matchups. That's where you're up against Duke Williams. That's where you're up against like a Greg Ellingson or a Lucky Whitehead. That's where you want your best cover guy. Winston Rose bumped DeAndre Alford to the other side for the playoff run in 2021. Demiro Houston comes off the practice roster, was there last season, is there again this season, had a crazy instance with his family and his daughter getting hit by a bullet during last season, moved his family all up here, all these trials and tribulations. He kept hustling, he kept working, and now he's being rewarded. He bumps Winston Rose to the field side, and now Demiro Houston is the Winnipeg Blue Bombers' top cover guy. I might still give it to Dietrich Nichols. I don't know about you, Zach.
I hate to tell you, Dietrich Nichols missed carry in space once. Could have had him for a loss, but that was the only thing. That's the only thing I've seen all year from Dietrich Nichols, and I was looking hard. I just wanted to bring you down a notch, buddy, because I know you think he's right up there. But I mean, credit Houston, like 6 tackles. He led the Bombers, I believe, in defensive tackles. He had that pick. He that Bombers defensive unit could have had a couple more picks there, by the way. Houston, like, you think about adjusting, 12 guys on the field, the size of that field, the waggle. Houston was in tough last year. I even made fun of him. I said, Houston, we have a problem in a couple of my podcasts. Sure. That's before I was a pro now, like I am with you, Darren.
Right. Yeah,
I would never do that. But credit Houston for working his tail off in the offseason. It reminds me of Lucky Whitehead, to be honest. He was our return guy in Winnipeg. He wasn't a polished receiver, and then he worked his tail off. This is what Nick Taylor told me. He worked his tail off. And then last year, you see Lucky Whitehead break out as a receiver. These guys, they work their craft, right? They work their craft. They love football, and they come out with performances like this. What an interception. Unbelievable. Houston, we no longer have a problem. Dennis says that.
No kidding. I'm just trying to help out a couple people. Who was it here? They were mentioning they were having trouble sharing the live link on YouTube, but appreciate that. Appreciate all the shares and all the likes. If everybody heads down on the video right now, if you're watching live on YouTube, which I think the majority of people are, give us a thumbs up, give us a like. If you haven't yet, subscribe. That all helps support Bonfire Sports and continue to give you this free content covering your favorite Blue Bombers team. And of course, we're going to be covering a little Jets hockey this coming winter as well. But man, you talk about the yin and yang of Winnipeg sports. It is the Winnipeg Jets and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers at polar ends of it right now. It's the hottest team in the CFL, back-to-back Grey Cup champs. They're playing at an elite level despite a ton of injuries. Can we talk about the guys that are not in the lineup for the Blue Bombers right now? It's unreal. Yeah, somebody was asking for an injury report earlier. I'm going to pull this up here so people can see, okay? Because this is really something. You'll never hear Mike O'Shea say, we're banged up and we're sure doing a good job with. He'll never say that, never, because that's just not his coaching mentality, right?
No, he'll say everybody's a starter, right? Everybody's a
starter. Here's your injured list, okay? Ricky Walker, he's the healthy scratch, okay? Not injured. Brandon Alexander, 6-game injured list, 2021 All-Star. We all know how good he is. Jesse Briggs, one of the top Canadians in the CFL. Amazing special teamer, like a coach on the field in the ilk of a Mike Miller. 6-game injured list. Michael Couture, CFLPA All-Star in 2021, 6-game injured list. Nick Dembski, most outstanding Canadian in the Grey Cup, 6-game injured list. Noah Hallett, who was slated to be the starting safety for the Blue Bombers as a Canadian. Or pardon me, brother Nick, Noah. I get them mixed up all the time. They're not even twins, but
I think most people
could be. Yeah, I'm secretly cursing their parents for giving them both N names, N-O and N-I for Nick and Noah. Mercy Maston, who obviously has hit really tough snags, injuring his Achilles in each of the last 2 Blue Bombers training camps. But I've said this before and I'll say it again. Mercy Maston, I was told by a CFL GM, was maybe the best player on the Blue Bombers defense in 2019. Big reason why they won the Grey Cup, and a big hat tip to him for sticking it out and coming back. He's a really good football player. Brendan O'Leary-Orange, dripping with potential. This guy played in the NCAA, big, good hands. Obviously has the pedigree, as we know, Zach, right? His father, Doyle Orange, a great running back for the Toronto Argonauts.
By the way, he just got Wally pipped, did he not?
Yeah, I mean, not a Canadian. Carlton Agudosi isn't a Canadian.
I understand, but they'll adjust the roster. You can't take Agudosi off.
Yeah. Kyrie Wilson, the most underrated linebacker in the CFL today for my dollar, and I know you agree with me there, Zach, on the 6-game injury list with another Achilles injury. Not even sure if he'll be able to return this season. Drew Richmond kind of waiting in the wings to take one of those tackle spots from Jamarcus Hardrick or Stanley Bryant. Call it a contingency plan. I don't think he's going to win the job over those guys for a while yet, but waiting for his opportunity. And then Dakota Prukop, the Blue Bombers short yardage quarterback who can run like the wind on the 6-game injury list. That is a ridiculous group. And Winnipeg, it's like, whatever, that's fine. You know, the Mike O'Shea mentality is working, right, Zach? He says, next man up. They're all starters.
Next man up, and you do start to appreciate how good Kyrie Wilson is when you see, you know, Kadeem Carey's a great back. He's probably the best back, right? He's probably the best back.
Absolutely. For my dollar.
Right now, no question.
James Butler, BC, probably right there.
Yeah.
Jamal Morrow in Saskatchewan.
But you see Wilson out, and that's what happens, right? Like, I don't think he gets that many yards. If Wilson is elite.
Yeah,
you know,
I mean,
he gets.
Malik Clemens played okay. You know, he's been pretty good filling in.
Yeah, he's been pretty good.
Yeah,
I saw him, you know, but he's not Kyrie Wilson. Let's just say that. By the way, I see Tamara Van Leeuwen say loves Showtime. I mean, how good was that play where he basically ran backwards on that sweep? It was a fake to Oliveira, which surprised me. Do you remember? It was a play. I have it in the. Let's see on my. I've really sharpened up my notes, Darren.
Look at you! You're doing that on the field, like, or in the stands during the game.
Oh yeah.
You are dedicated, man. You are dedicated to Bonfire Sports.
OD special teams, third quarter. OD special teams, fourth. You know, it's just. Can I find it? Can I find it here? That's the big question. But there was a play where Showtime Sheed, he basically, 7 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Look at me here. He runs back. He had to run backwards, and then he gets around and he gets the first down. Like the effort play there. My goodness, we're going to talk about the running game more, I'm sure. But I did want to mention that play because, you know, I don't think Bailey caught a whole lot, but he sure did.
Yeah, it just seems like it's interesting you mentioned that. It just seems like the move to the X, the move to like the top wide receiver spot, like where Kenny Lawler played last year.
Yeah,
it's not working for him. You know, we were calling the Blue Bombers offense tepid. You know, Marcus Sales, even myself, guilty, was calling the Blue Bombers offense vanilla and tepid and uninspired. Well, we've since been proven wrong for the last 2 weeks against two previously unbeaten teams. So, you know, I'll bite my tongue a little bit and I'll eat crow if I'm proven wrong, but it just doesn't seem to be working for Rasheed Bailey at the X. I found him much more effective in the slot. I wonder if the development continues for Carlton Agudosi.
Yeah.
If he becomes the X, if he becomes that big wide receiver on the outside that you can like send vertical and bring across the middle and the rest, and bring Rasheed Bailey back to an inside spot, I think that might be something the Blue Bombers would explore. But right now they've got a ton of weaponry, a ton of options. I thought we were going to see a lot of Greg McCrae tonight. We didn't.
We didn't see him at all, did he? Did we? He's not even on the. Did he rush the ball even once? I'm looking here. Nope.
I'm going to pull it up here. We'll see.
Nothing. Zeros.
And, you know, I'm saying all week, like guilty. Holy, that's red. Look at that, eh?
Woo. No, it's really steamy.
Yeah, just pulling up the stats here. But yeah, I mean, I was saying all week, I expect Greg McCrae's role to grow and grow all the time. And every game, he's going to get a little bit more. Well, not today. I don't think he had anything. He did not rush the football.
He was on the kick return.
Okay. Yeah.
He was.
So,
they did that. They did that.
Carlton Agudosi took it. He took it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm with Adam Draward, who is watching live on Facebook. Thanks for joining us again, Adam. Always in the live chat. Don't think Agudosi is coming out of the lineup. I agree. Not anytime soon. That's for sure. Just what a debut for Carlton Agudosi. Like, he was lights out and just made it happen. People talking about the Carlton dance, like from Fresh Prince, like the famous Alfonso Ribeiro Carlton dance when he scores touchdowns. Maybe Agudosi has to work on those particular dance skills. And then I think the same person mentioned play Donkashane when Dalton Schoen scores.
Well, between Dalton Schoen and Greg McCrae, like not getting on the stat sheet much, my fantasy team got sunk, just like Hustler here is talking, or whoever the avatar for Winnipeg Sports Talk. My God, because I wasn't on the show a couple weeks ago, but last week I absolutely torched the entire CFL podcast scene. Had Greg McCrae, Dalton Schoen, value picks. I go back there. Yeah, I'll take it. We beat the snot out of Calgary. Whatever,
man.
But he does look like Calvin Johnson. I mean,
I was kind of reminded of AJ Green. Like more slender and long, and like maybe not super physical, but great body control in the air and able to go and snag the ball, snatch and grab. Really impressive when you got a 6'6", 220-pound frame. Man, oh man. It's like one guy goes down, another steps up, and not just steps up to fill in, but steps up and plays incredibly well.
Well, and if Zach hits him on, he there was
Guilty.
one play.
I know that's Remo. He's
well,
always
he
asking me
did
for
take
CFL
empty
fantasy.
spot.
He did. Yeah, he did. And he's been used in a similar way. We saw that in BC, but not tonight. They changed things up. So, another color of sprinkles on the vanilla bowl of ice cream. Another, maybe some caramel sauce to go with the chocolate sauce. Maybe some pecans to go with the crushed peanuts. Just another little, Salt Bay. The people at Salt Bay, the elbow?
Salt bag? What's going on here?
Salt Bay, BAE. They call it like that guy who cut up the meat. It was live chat knows what I'm talking about.
Okay, live chat. Help me out here. Live chat. Shout out to Remo, my wife's cousin. Hey, buddy.
He would chop up the meat and then sprinkle the salt and let it fall down his elbow.
Oh, okay.
Salt Bay, BAE.
I think that they should have a special kind of sprinkles called Agudosi. I'll have a little more Agudosi on there. Just a little more Agudosi on my vanilla cone.
I like Dennis's comment in the live chat. Trying to diet, no more ice cream talk. Yeah, it can be tough. It can be tough at when it hits midnight here and getting steamy and on game day after dark.
Well, and it would melt a cone. It would even melt it. By the way, Blue Bomber Woman and her ride or die friend Jersey Girl, they were making ice cream in section 141 with sprinkles. I ran into them on the concourse. They said, "Come to 141. We're making this ice cream with sprinkles." And I was tempted, but I was too glued into the game and the concourse. You couldn't really get around. 29,700 fans. You're not moving. So
yeah,
anyway.
that was awesome. I enjoyed the concourse a little bit during the game. It smelled unique in that concourse with 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter. It smelled unique. I'll leave it at that. But man, Jeff just said it. Jeff Kabila's, I hope I'm pronouncing that right.
I think
Concourse
so.
was bumping. I sent out like a little video early in the game, like during player introductions, of like how deceiving IG Field is, because you watch the TV broadcast
Yes.
and it's like, oh man, there's big banks of seats. Nobody's in the corner of the end zone. If you have a seat in the corner of the end zone down low, your sidelines are not great. Like they're
No.
not great in any stadium. So why wouldn't you take a walk,
Yeah.
grab a beverage, grab a bite to eat, go to the bat, whatever, stroll around, hit the rum hut, socialize a little bit. The Manitoba social that is the rum hut. Have fun, right? Because
Totally.
you can. That's the gift and the curse of IG Field. The gift to the fans of having that beautiful freedom open air concourse.
Yeah.
And the curse being, oh, it looks like nobody's there. Well, no, they're there. They're the loudest fans in the CFL.
Well, even my brother said that, and I told you he's not a big sports fan. He's been to maybe 3 or 4 Bomber games in the last 20 years, but he said, "Where is everybody?" And I said, "Trust me, we have a crowd tonight. They're just on the concourse. They're getting their beer, they're getting their pop and their hot dogs or whatever." Yeah, that's a nice one, Waiters.
Yeah, like
that's crazy.
Waiters comes in with some really good takes, hot takes, some LOLs and some jokes for sure. Big hat tip to you, Waiters, always joining us here on Bonfire Sports. Since September 21st, 2018, the Blue Bombers have 1 home loss. How's that for a fact, says Waiters. I'll have to double check that.
It's crazy.
But I believe you.
Right.
I believe you. And then, of course, Zach Collaros. 24-1 in meaningful games as the Blue Bombers starting quarterback. It's 20, it's 21, 22, 23, now 24-1. Unbelievable. The numbers that are stacking up here. And, I was asked this on TSN radio today. My good friend, Dave Jameson, who's back on the airwaves after a great job and really tough battle fighting cancer. He was back with Alan Low Tide on TSN 1260 in Edmonton. And
Nice.
They were asking me today, like, is this a dynasty? Is this a dynasty in Winnipeg? I want to know the fans' opinion on that. 2 championships. Like, I understand it's been 3 years, right? But 2 championships through 2 seasons. Is that a dynasty? Like, are you calling the Winnipeg Blue Bombers today a dynasty, or do they need another championship? Do you need a third to say this is a dynasty?
Should I weigh in on that?
Of course you should.
Should I weigh in that? Well, but by the way, I think it's 2019 when they lost. That was the Hamilton game. Dane Evans and Chris Strevler was playing. We started that game off first drive of the game 7-0, and then Hamilton took over. Dane Evans had about 300 yards in the first half. I remember the game. We were still in it, but then Strevler threw a pick. Anyway, I'm going back. Zach's brain. I remember all these weird things. I remember every game. Anyway, are they a dynasty? Well,
like, it's week 6. I get that. They're 6-0. It's week 6. I was asked this question, so I figured I would put it out there. Transcona Poly says 3-peat equals a dynasty. The Edmonton Football Club from 1978 to 1982, that 5-year stretch with Warren Moon at quarterback, they won 5 straight Grey Cups, right? And it's the only reason Edmonton has more Grey Cup wins than Winnipeg.
Yeah.
Toronto has the most. Winnipeg has the most Grey Cup appearances. We all
yeah.
know that in recent memory, but they also had a ton of appearances in the 50s and 60s. They lost to the Ticats a handful of times. They also beat the Ticats a bunch of times. But, everybody chiming in. Derek Schmidt says, I say 3-peat. I tend to agree. I think a dynasty needs a 3rd championship. It doesn't have to be this year. It's looking like it could very well be. Andrea says, I don't think it's a dynasty. Didn't Edmonton win 4 or 5 in a row? That's a dynasty. Sure. Was the Montreal Alouettes under Anthony Calvillo, was that a dynasty? I think so.
I don't know. I don't know if they won enough Grey Cups. Like they were so spaced apart, like 2002 to 2009, and they were in so many
spaced
of
out.
them.
But that's what a dynasty is. It's an era, right?
Well, I don't know the answer if it's a dynasty, but I will say we had that COVID year, which was challenging for everybody. They come out of that year and they win again, and they dominated the league in 2021. I know the playoff games were close, but and they did have that one loss in Toronto, but they dominated. They blew everybody away that year. It was crazy in 2021. 2019 they had the Grey Cup. That was breaking the drought. And then despite all those injuries you're talking about, Darren,
Mhm.
despite the fact that were questioning this team, they should have lost to Ottawa in week 1. Ottawa dominated them again in week 2, but we come away with the win. Yeah, we barely beat Toronto. We shouldn't have beat Toronto. Even the Ticats game, we didn't blow them away, and they're a winless team. Everybody's questioning this team, and they go out in the one of the biggest statement games I've ever seen as a fan of the Bombers, and they destroy the Lions. They absolutely manhandle the Lions on the
Yep.
road in a short week. Unbelievable play. And then they come here and they beat the second best team in the league. And without two special teams gaffes that gifted the Stamps 10 points, we blow them away again. Like I don't want to sound hyperbolic, but that game is 26-9, Darren. If Janarian Grant doesn't fumble in his own red zone and then they don't have that
There
special
were
teams staff with Legio, like
big
time
time
of
special
possession,
teams line
first
use.
downs, I don't know if they're a dynasty, but they sure are looking like that.
Yeah, I agree. I love some of these comments that are coming through on the dynasty talk. Scott Roger, shout out, rifle up, Winnipeg Rifles Junior Football. I think they have to win a third cup, but it doesn't have to be this year. Get to at least the West Final and win a third next year. That would be 2023 is fine, says Scott Roger. Lots of people mentioning, you need 4 in a row to be a dynasty,
I don't know
or
about
a
that.
three-peat. Like in modern sports, like
Yeah.
I get like hockey, I don't even know if you can do a comparison, right? You got a 9-team CFL, you've got a 32 team NHL, previously 30 and 31 for a long time. You got 32 teams in the National Football League, and Tom Brady, I think, is just a multi-generational talent, and Bill Belichick, a multi-generational head coach. Those are unique things. Does Winnipeg need to win 4 straight championships, or 4 in 5 years, or 4 in 6 years to be considered a dynasty? Or is 3 in a 5-year span, or 3 in a 6-year span a dynasty? I'm leaning more towards the latter. I don't think you have to like stack championships to
No.
be a dynasty, or like, really there wouldn't be a dynasty for every 30, 40 years, maybe even longer.
I I think the word dynasty is synonymous with 3 wins. I agree. It doesn't have to come in 3 years, but my goodness, if they are looking like the class of the league again, and it's early,
Yep.
but I think uh, I always talk about this on this show. I think we don't talk about Zach Collaros enough.
I'm glad you brought
This
that up. I wanted to
guy
shift to that. Well done.
is such a freaking gamer, Darren. Like just the athleticism. I was talking to someone who works with a team, and he's almost like a guy that's holding an RPG. Like he's holding a bazooka. The guy, like the arm talent on this guy, the arm strength, like Chris commissioned Zach Mahomes. Like, yes, I don't think that's hyperbole to say Zach Collaros, he does remind you of Patrick Mahomes at times. He throws sidearm, he throws around coverage, he
Mhm.
escapes, he does that double back move he does to freeze defenders. I mean, not all of his throws worked today when he escaped pressure, but he escaped pressure like crazy. Like, we have an elite quarterback
He's
who took
special.
us over the top. There is no dynasty. I would argue there's no Grey Cups. There's no drought busting 2019 Grey Cup and 2021 Grey Cup without Zach Collaros. Just, uh, he is unbelievable, Darren.
Yep.
And he doesn't need much of a Bo Levi Mitchell. He's sort of that classic pocket passer. He has a big windup and he throws it. Zach Collaros' delivery is just like wham. He doesn't need to drop back much. He has such core and leg strength, and he just whips the ball. He throws it. He's a gunslinger, but he also gets you key second downs, and he throws it into tight windows. He loves him some slot backs, by the way, and him and Ellingson. Like,
Here's some
I just
chemistry.
I just can't say enough. Zach was incredible again tonight.
No question. Quickly, Richie Copes. I wonder if that's my boy Richie Copes. Could very well be. I think it is. Rad. What's going on, man? Changing the topic a bit, but the discipline of this Blue Bombers team is one of the most underrated reasons why they are successful. That's a great comment. I think that's absolutely bang on the nose. Great take here on Bonfire Sports. To Zach Collaros. So everybody's been looking for that word, excuse me, to describe that innate creativity and ability and magic that Zach Collaros is able to execute on the field. They're looking for that word. Like, is it football IQ? Is it, I think Doug Brown mentioned today, like it's grit. I think those things are all true. The word that really comes to me when trying to think about that special quality Zach Collaros has, it's beyond football IQ. Football IQ means, you have wisdom, you have intelligence, obviously, and you understand the game and the nuance of it and how to take advantage of different situations and be able to do that almost naturally like that. What I see in Zach Collaros is like the word I found is intuition. He has a natural intuition to know what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. Leg strength, core strength, arm talent, IQ, vision, all of those things. Those are important. You need that, obviously. You're not going to be Zach Collaros. You're not going to be an MOP quarterback if you don't have physical tools, if you don't have mental tools, if you don't study your tail off. But it seems like he has that natural intuition to know how to extend plays, how to find that receiver on a broken play, how to make something happen and make something out of nothing. It truly is special to watch. I think people across the country, Zach, across the country, they're realizing that Zach Collaros today in 2022 is the best Zach Collaros we have ever seen. And if he's able to continue the 23-1, 24-1, I've lost track, whatever it is, in meaningful games as the Blue Bombers starting quarterback. And when you hear that, meaningful games, it's because he played half of the first quarter of a late season game in 2021 in Calgary that he took the L for. He played half a quarter, and the Bombers were locked up in first place. It meant nothing. It was Sean McGuire, go see what you can do, which wasn't much. But either way, 24-1, championship after championship, MOP and Grey Cup MVP, and now has the Blue Bombers, a storied franchise, at 6-0 for the first time in 62 years. And it just it's like a train that will not stop. This is a special time. Enjoy Blue Bombers Nation. This is really something. When you have a defense as good as they are, when you have a quarterback as good as this is, you lose talented players like Andrew Harris and Kenny Lawler and the rest. And because you have good coaching, a good defensive system, and a very, very special quarterback, you're winning. You just it can't be stopped. It's really something.
Yeah. And football is so hard to win, especially in a 9-team league. Like the parity, Darren.
Yep.
Like it is tough. You say intuition. I think just that it factor. He just has the it factor. He has all the measurables, but his instincts are he knows right when to step away from pressure. He has that almost like third eye, like in the back of his head, when he knows like a D lineman is about to bring him down, and he just steps away. He has that move where he freezes the D lineman and runs the other way. He threw across his body today on a broken play to Ellingston. I mean, I don't know if people understand how hard that is to be running to the right and throw across your body. Like, that's what got Favre in trouble. Brett Favre is a comparable to me to Zach Collaros. And
Interesting.
I didn't come up with that. Someone I was talking to this week did. But they're both gunslingers. They both have that it factor. They both know how to win. They both are good for usually a pick a game. Like, Zach will throw, it doesn't always get caught by the DBs, but he just has that it, and he has the leadership, Darren, to come into that championship locker room in 2019. And O'Shea saw it. O'Shea knew. He said Zach was the only guy who could do that. We almost got Zach Collaros in 2014. I was salivating.
Hang on. I wouldn't say almost.
Well, we should have. We wanted him. I misspoke. You're right. We didn't.
They wanted him. They wanted Collaros. They wanted Henry Burris. They got Drew Willie from Saskatchewan. Burris, of course, went to Ottawa, and then Collaros went to Hamilton, and the rest is history. But they were way down the pecking order at that point.
We should talk about the run. I know we're getting late here. We should talk about the run game, eh?
Yes, let's talk about it.
Because I tweeted out, I think I tweeted out to you, I thought maybe this was the time where they were going to anoint Augustine the number one. Now, we only had...
What did we see?
Yeah.
We saw 9 carries for Brady Oliveira and 7 carries for Johnny Augustine. But of course, let's look at the yards per carry, because anytime the Johnny Augustine hype train pulls up to the bonfire, it's average yards per carry. 4.7 for Johnny Augustine tonight. Long of 7, so nothing too offsetting for the average. 7 carries, 33 yards. Brady Oliveira, 9 carries, 8 yards. That's less than a yard per carry. Had some pretty big losses as far as a couple of the carries he had. 3 yards was his long. Is it a Brady Oliveira problem? Is it a overall Blue Bombers run game problem? Is it a play calling problem? Is it an offensive line problem? Is it a game plan issue in facing teams and not dialing up the right run game plan? I don't know. I don't have an answer for this. I'm fascinated. I'm going to try to track down Richie Hall this week and talk to him about this. Of course, it's what's the right way to put it? Like it's tempered a little bit because the Bombers are winning, right? But these are not good numbers.
No.
For a duo backfield on a dangerous offense. When you got a quarterback like Zach Collaros and you can't get a run game going with like a legit passing threat, it's however, though, it's working. It's still working.
Well, I noted down, to be fair, in the first half, I don't know how many times the Bombers ran on first down, but it wasn't very often. Like, it was very un-Bombers like. I think they saw something in that Calgary secondary. I think they figured it out, because Brett Monston is a very good DC. Mm-hmm. Someone told me he really likes to play with quarterbacks because he'll line the DBs up 5 in a line, and so you don't know who's covering who. But Zach figured it out, and those guys, the Bomber receivers would run to the line, and then they wouldn't snap it, and then Monson's defense kind of reveals its hand, and then Zach can kind of pick it apart. But they weren't running on first down a lot, and is that because the run game is struggling? Is that because that's just who Mike O'Shea always says, we will do what we need to do that game to win. Mm-hmm. And I think there's some truth to that. Oliveira, what I see is he kind of shuffles his feet. He doesn't hit the hole very hard. I know maybe he's more of a zone runner, so my understanding of that, Darren, is he's waiting for the hole to open up. He's sort of looking. He's trying to use that patience, and I get that could be a chemistry issue, but it's just not working. I mean, credit Brady Oliveira for that catch where he got that extra 3 yards for the first down. That was a great play. I believe it was in a big first down in the fourth quarter, but yeah, he redeemed himself. He kind of did look like Andrew Harris there late in the fourth quarter.
Well, I'm glad you
But
mentioned
other
Andrew
than
Harris.
that, he had nothing, and the crowd was booing him, which I thought was too bad. But
it wasn't crazy booing. It was like, as booing often is sometimes,
yeah,
a vocal small group. But you mentioned Andrew Harris. I just pulled up the comment a little while ago. Someone mentioned how, like, with any other quarterback than Zach Collaros, the Blue Bombers' run game would be their death knell.
yeah.
I don't even think that's too far off the truth. Imagine a Matt Nichols run offense without Andrew Harris. Would that Blue Bombers team be a playoff team like they were? Oof, I don't know. I don't know. They were kind of, they did enough to win football games, but man, if you didn't have that defense or you didn't have that running back and Andrew Harris, I really wonder what that would have looked like. But of course, that's ancient history and a huge, hypothesis, right? It's not real. Bob Molly, which is Ryan Friesen, by the way. Is Charles Roberts available? You could probably try to track him down. I think he's working in the U.S. Postal Service in California. This is an interesting comment. Of course, it was hot and muggy, like hot as hell out there today. Jeremy Perrin says, terrible rushing numbers. That won't win in cold games. That's really on the nose, man. I mean, if Winnipeg can't run the football and it's suddenly like sleet or freezing rain or windy and they need a strong run game, like all those times we blew up Andrew Harris for being like the secret weapon in these cold weather games, and this offensive line and this run game, they're going to shine when the weather gets cold. Well, it did. They didn't really have to rely on it too much, if I'm not remembering those playoff runs properly. But what's going to happen if they run into, a cold weather game against Saskatchewan or Calgary or BC in the playoffs? Could be a real Achilles heel.
Yeah, it could. And I see Buck trying to figure out, he's trying to throw in McRae. He's trying to bring Janarian Grant on those jet sweeps, right? He's trying to throw Augustine in. Augustine did have a better game than Oliveira, just on the face of it. But Calgary started to figure it out. They figured out the Janarian Grant jet sweeps and had him for a lot, even though he must have ran like 50 yards on one of those plays. But
right.
Yeah, I hope they figure out. Now, a couple of those snaps were high too to Collaros, which I know throws the timing off. And Kolinkowski, he's new there a little bit, so they're but at the end of the game, there were a couple of plays, Darren, where either Collaros went the wrong way or Oliveira went the wrong way, and they were broken plays that the Bombers just had to eat. And then Buck Pierce, and this got booze from my section. We were trying to salt the game up by a touchdown. We were pinned deep, and on 2nd and 12, they tried a draw play with Brady Oliveira, and it did not go over well. In fact, one of the Logan, Dave, Pete, and Grant, and those boys who sit behind me said, that was a Lapo play. Get out of here. The classic Lapo draw play on 2nd and 10. Oh, that was funny. Shout out to Michelle if you're listening, came and said hi. And also Kevin Dodge came and said hi to me. Great people. But yeah, it just didn't look good. So we've got to get that figured out. But at the same time, I'll stop yapping here, Darren. When you've got Zach Collaros And if he's playing at this level, I'm not saying you don't need to run the ball. Of course, you need to have a running threat, but it makes it a little more palatable. You said, would this have worked with the Matt Nichols offense? And shout out to Matt Nichols because he officially retired, by the way.
Yep.
No, Matt Nichols without Andrew Harris, that offense would have been in serious trouble. That offense literally was Andrew Harris. But if you got Zach Collaros, that's a different echelon of quarterback. So
Yep.
I think they can take time for the run game to develop because Collaros is that good.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Want to hit the Bonfire Sports Hotline, 816-TIPS, 816-8477. That familiar 204 area code, standard rates apply, as you see below. Just like when you text your mama, same thing. You got a texting plan, you're good to go. Glenda texted the hotline and says, Dynasty or not, this will remain one of my favorite periods of time as a season ticket holder. Glenda, I think your comments reflective of many in Bomber Nation right now. Lots of great texts. I got one during the game from Jordy. He says, I saw Tom Canada jersey already tonight. This game is a lock. He sent me that at 7:34 p.m. So Jordy called it. Good on you, Jordy. Thanks for texting the hotline. Everybody out there, send a text, leave a voicemail. We have a ton of fun with the hotline here on Bonfire Sports. And again, get down just below the video, give a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't yet, comment. If you're watching the replay of this, you're not watching live, comment. I read all those comments. So let your voice be heard. That's what it's all about here on Bonfire Sports. Gather round the fire, let it loose, and have fun with all of us here talking football. And we'll be talking hockey a little bit later this year as well. I do want to send something out, and I'm going to put it in the live chat right now. This is a link. I don't know if it's clickable, but it's easy. It is bonfire, sia.com/bonfiresportstv. So we are officially now an affiliate of Sports Interaction and their online casino and sportsbook. So if you want to put a sprinkle on the game, you can head on over to this link. And if you use this link to sign up and make a deposit, I think you only have to deposit $200, but great promos happening over there now where they're going to match you and the rest, match your dollars. But if you use this link, sia.com/bonfiresportstv, sia.com/bonfiresportstv for those listening on the podcast, that will help us directly here on Bonfire Sports and continue to give you this free content on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitch. Now we are on Twitch. This is our first live broadcast on Twitch. Oh, you're twitching, Zach. And LinkedIn and Twitter. So to everybody out there who has been supportive, love you guys, appreciate you a lot. If you feel like putting a sprinkle on some CFL games, there's tons of value there.
Sprinkle of Agadosi.
It's a little sprinkle of Agadosi. Well, it's not Jesus sprinkles in Regina.
No.
But hit up that link, sia.com/bonfiresportstv. You're right, waiters. I am a content machine. We're going to get the hockey going this winter too. And really appreciate the support. And those of you who are able to support us how you can. Sponsorships too. If you are a local brewery, Chris Walby wants to drink your beer and he will tell everybody what he thinks of it. He will tell everybody. The guy is a legend in this town because of his thirst and appetite for coldies, as he calls them.
It's really a slam dunk, really. Walby drinking your beer.
Yeah.
You really can't.
He had a deal. He had some special 63 made up by Torque at one time.
Oh, did he?
Could definitely get that going
Torque,
again.
what about Torque?
Yeah. Well, here's
Tamara's
saying Bluto Brew. I like that.
Pardon me? Blue Crew, the Bluto Blue Crew beer or something. Tamara, I can do the floss. Come to midweek. I'll do the floss. I'll do the floss.
Of course. So
Tuesday night, move, by the way.
Give us the plug, Zach, for Bonfire midweek. Where and
I get to do a plug?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, Bonfire midweek every Tuesday midweek. I believe I named it midweek, Darren. We had a
You
bunch
did.
of different
You
names, and
did.
I said let's keep it simple, just like me. So Bonfire midweek every Tuesday at 7:30. Or sometimes at 7:31. But the
7:29.
link is live on Twitter, on Facebook, on what else? Twitch now, on
Yeah.
YouTube, and yeah,
LinkedIn.
LinkedIn.
We're on LinkedIn.
And we go around the league. We do some betting stuff, some fantasy stuff. We hit up the Bombers. We tee up the next game. We have a sober second thought review
Sober
on the
second thought,
game that we
Schnitz.
just had. It's a fun time. And hey, it doesn't just have to be me. Darren's had a lot of great guests on. So there's a whole bonfire content crew here. It's just growing.
Yeah. We had
This
Ted Wyman
platform
on.
is growing.
Yeah, we had Ted Wyman of the Winnipeg Sun on. That was a
Yeah.
ton of fun. Ted, such a good dude. I'll plug Ted because he had me over at his place last night and I got some free pizza. So that was a ton of fun. Waiters, you'll be there live Tuesday night at 7:30 p.m. We will be there too. It's going to be a heck of a lot of fun. You got final thought? Okay, let's go through. Let's wrap it up, Zach,
Okay.
with our Walby's Warrior, our well, we already did the Happy Honker. So
we got the Happy
Walby's,
Honker.
we got Walby's
Westwood
Warrior
wide to the right.
and the Westwood wide to the right. Okay.
I think I texted all these to you while I was in the car. I was like, I gotta tell Darren.
Did you text the hotline or did you text my actual phone number?
I think well, you did give me your actual phone number. I thought I could use it. I didn't text the hotline. I didn't text. So okay.
I wouldn't even know if it was you if you texted the hotline. You have to be like,
by the way, someone in the chat asked, are they leaving Oliveira in because he's a better blocker? I saw Johnny Augustine pick up a free blitzer. That long throw to Agadosi, that Zach overthrew him just a little bit. There was a guy that was like full steam ahead at Zach Collaros, and 27 picked him up. So I think he can pick up blitzers.
That is curious. What's up, Clayton? Man, old friend. Good to hear from you, man. Thanks for joining us here on Bonfire Sports. Appreciate it as always. It's interesting with the blocking game and that sort of thing. If one tailback is that much more effective than the other, I think you find a way to get him in. Yeah. So something's up, something's cooking. We're going to continue to explore that on Bonfire Midweek Tuesday, 7:30, right here on the channel.
Because Augustine is always like one move away from just breaking one. I saw that tonight a couple times where, and Calgary, they're good tacklers. I mean, Jameer Thurman, and they've got some great defensive players in the linebacking core. But yeah, anyway, we could go on and on about that. My Warriors, I mean, it's Collaros. I just think, it was the biggest game of the CFL season. He came to play, man. He came to play. What did he throw for? How many yards? 315, 2 touchdowns, 71.1% completion percentage. The guy was just, and it wasn't, a few big chunk plays. Like his long was 23. Like he just was delivering, and that sparkling, what was it? 65, 70% on second down against Calgary, who was like 4 of 19 on second down. My God. Like that's Collaros and that's Ellingson. I mean, Ellingson is the 1B. I mean, Ellingson was unbelievable tonight.
Well, 1B, how about you leave him for me to pick as my Walby's Warrior? I wanted to give a honorable mention to Zach Collaros. I wanted to give an honorable mention for Walby's Warrior to Carlton Agadosi for just a stellar CFL debut with 2 touchdowns and a couple really, really big plays. But when you target a receiver 14 times and he comes down with 11 balls for 152 yards, didn't have a 90-yard touchdown that made his day. He had 11 catches for 152 yards, and his long was 23. He was a first down machine. He had 7 second down conversions. Greg Ellingson was a warrior tonight. I'm giving it to him, and I surely expect him to be named a CFL top performer in the 3-game week 6 that we're in the middle of right now.
Nice. Okay, I'm gonna go wide, my Westwood wide to the right. Originally it was gonna be the OPI on Agadosi, but I have since found out that was in fact an OPI.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say it's that Charlie Moore, that roughing the kicker, which was completely unnecessary. And it was a 6-point swing for the Bombers. They missed the field goal. It would have been a single. Then they get a touchdown. 7-point swing. Are you saying 7-point swing? Oh, we can't hear you. We can't hear you.
Hi, there we go. I've been clearing my throat too much tonight. It's the humidity. But I don't know if it would have been a single. I don't know. But either way.
You don't know if it would have been. Oh, they might have brought it out.
Huge swing. It was a huge,
that was a huge
swing.
swing. And then Kadeem Carey, for all the good things he did, I mean, Adam Bighill just roughed him up out of the. I don't know if people remember that tackle, but Bighill tracks him down. It was a bit of a high tackle.
They flagged him. Tackle. They flagged him for a horse collar, and then they picked the flag up.
Did they?
They threw a flag on themselves, as officials in football do.
But then they threw the flag on Kadeem Carey. They threw the flag on Carey, yeah, because there was an objectionable conduct.
Oh, because he was chirping afterwards. Afterwards.
It was such an unbelievable tackle by Bighill. It was a high tackle, but I don't think it was. I don't think they called the horse collar. It was just it
was legal when he whipped him, like when he had him up high, like had his jersey or whatever, kind of on the back plate. He wasn't in the collar. He was in the back plate. It's legal. Bighill's feet are in bounds when he whips him out, and Kadeem Carey was not out of bounds, so that is a legal tackle. But I love this from Corey, who's watching live on YouTube and always does. What's going on, Corey? My Warriors, the Winnipeg fans tonight. I think Chris Welby would approve of that one. Zach, you're giving your Walby's Warrior, or pardon me, your Westwood wide to the right to the Charlie Moore,
and then that Carey penalty, a couple of really bad penalties that pushed the Stamps back. The thing about the Bombers is they don't beat themselves. The only bad penalty I saw was Jeff Coates, late in the fourth quarter, that final drive for Calgary before the interception, the roughing the passer. But the Bombers don't beat themselves. And if you're going to beat the Bombers, you have to play nearly perfect football. You can't beat yourself with stupid penalties, and that's what and the drop balls with Calgary. That was my wide. And the happy honker, I got to give it to Agadosi and also Houston. Maybe you can do it too.
Oh, I thought you gave it to Hustler and Toth.
Oh yeah, I gave it to Hustler. Can I have 3 honk honk honk, 3 happy honkers? I don't know. Yeah, so I did give it to Hustler. Go ahead, though.
Okay, so I have a Walby's Warrior. I gave it to Ellingson because he was just beastly tonight. My wide to the right is Reggie Bagel, because look, that Charlie Moore roughing the kicker penalty that resulted in a Blue Bombers touchdown instead of a missed field goal was, to me, the most important sequence in the game. No question. But I will give my Westwood wide to the right to Reggie Begelton and Malik Henry colliding in the end zone on 3rd and goal, their third shot from the Winnipeg 2 that led to a turnover on downs in the third quarter. That resulted in the Blue Bombers being able to effectively hang on for a win at that point. They were up 20-16 at that point, and getting a turnover on downs in the red zone at that juncture of the game was huge.
Crazy.
Maybe not as big as that Charlie Moore roughing, but it's right there with it. So that's my Westwood wide to the right. As far as a happy honker, you know what? I'm going to take a word from one of the commenters tonight. And I'm going to give the Happy Honker Award to the 30,000 fans at IG Field. I was so impressed with the volume, with the exuberance and energy. It was hot. It was sweaty. It was uniquely smelling, as I described it earlier. And it was truly special. That was a special night. Winnipeg with a huge win, a statement game over Bo Levi and the Calgary Stampeders. Yeah, it's the regular season. Yeah, they're good. They're going to meet again, on July 30th in Calgary. I think they play and then they play again August 25th here in Winnipeg. So this is the first of three. Winnipeg got the better of Calgary. I expect them to come back very strong. These two teams do not like each other. I coined it the Canadian Mafia matchup. American GM and American head coach of the Calgary Stampeders against a Canadian triumvirate of Wade Miller,
baby.
Kyle Walters, and Mike O'Shea. These are special games between the best team in the CFL over the last 10 years against the best team in the CFL over the last 3, no question, in the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. The way the fans showed up on Friday night, I was so impressed. I might be wearing a green shirt right now, but I was feeling a lot of pride for Blue Bombers Nation out there. It was pretty cool and nice to see. Is an absolute understatement. That's my Happy Honker Award to the 29,700 and whatever it was, 30,000 nearly in attendance.
Nearly 30,000, man. I can't, I'd be remiss if I didn't say that crowd, someone in the chat, I didn't see your name, said that crowd noise in the first quarter caused Calgary to take a timeout.
Yeah.
Dickinson is
First
a
drive.
good coach. Like he doesn't take a timeout easily. I think it's something Neil, I don't know, it was a good comment because I forgot about that one. But it's funny I know we got to go, Darren, but with the Stamps and Bombers, you have the Bombers taking the mantle of the marquee franchise away from the Stamps in 2019, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they kept it in 2021. And the Stamps fell back a bit. You had that Bo Levi Mitchell injury, and now those horsies are they're right at our heels, and they're trying to take it back, buddy.
Yeah,
they are trying to take it back, and they couldn't do it tonight. But am I looking forward to the next 2 Bombers Stamps games. My God, they're going to be great.
Johnny Gibbs nails it here in the live chat. Lack of deodorant, wide to the right. Yes, sir. Got Milt. Good to see you back in the live chat. Got Milt.
All right.
That crowd was rocking. I mentioned that in our Bonfire Blue Crew live, we kind of have like a little private chat with a few dozen people, right? Zach, you got me in on that group, and nice to connect with fans like that outside of the show. But I said Friday night is going to be a rocker, and Got Milt said it right. That crowd was rocking tonight. It was a really special night. I think it's one that we're going to remember for a long time. I think fans are going to say, like, remember that ridiculously hot, sweaty, muggy night at IG Field where, Carlton Agadosi caught 2 touchdowns in his debut and we had no run game, but somehow still found a way to win. Our special teams, they'll say our special teams stunk and the rest. Winnipeg made it happen tonight. And I think people are going to remember it for a long time. That was a great night.
They will.
What a game.
Shout out to you, Matt Neal. That was you who caught the timeout thing there. And I still want them to fire the cannon off at the end of the night if we win. Come on, guys. I need that last cannon to just have closure. I want closure at the end of a win, Darren. I want that cannon to go off when we win. Saying.
They misfired the cannon tonight when they thought Schoen had a touchdown. I looked down at the seats, whatever section that is, right below the rum hut, and everyone's high-fiving. And I'm like, that was incomplete,
By the way, do you know who's wearing a headset tonight? Brandon Alexander. You don't often see an injured player wearing a headset.
I wonder if he was just listening in on the defensive play calls, right? That's fascinating. Man. Good eyes by you.
Well, I sit in section 128, so me and Vicky and Dave, Grant, Pete, Logan, Michelle, all of us, like at Arlen, we have a bird's eye view of what goes on, and it's kind of a fun thing. but I suspect he was. Yeah, I think you're right. I think he is really. They call him the coach on the field, but I thought that was interesting. I expect that guy to be a coach.
Absolutely. They talk about his leadership, right? That's one thing to like help your fellow teammates. But his leadership goes a little bit beyond that. Derek Schmidt mentioning here. I lost it. Fritchie mentioning he's like a coach out there tonight. Ooh,
Yeah, yeah.
Alexander is a spy. Like if you got a guy that knows what to watch for on the field, not able to contribute in a playing capacity, but has the respect of his teammates and his coaches clearly, and he's able to contribute, all the power to him. I think that's a great thing, and good eyes by you to notice that.
Sometimes, Darren, sometimes. Just one more thing. You said something about SIA, and I think you said, how much do people got to put in to match?
I think it's only $20.
Yeah.
You gotta, and then they'll match you. But if you sign up with that link, sia.com/bonfiresportstv, if you sign up with that, like that helps us here on Bonfire directly. So really appreciate those of you who do sign up. But if that's not your thing, even if it is your thing, head down to the video below, give the thumbs up, subscribe, ring the bell, do all those good things, and help support this continual free content for you, the Blue Bombers nation, and for Winnipeg and Manitoba sports fans. Lots more to come in the coming weeks and months. Hockey season is right around the corner. Zach, I will see you Tuesday night for Bonfire midweek. I can't wait, man.
Bam, Tuesday night, can't wait. And guess what, everybody? Fun fact, 52 minutes ago, I turned 39.
Oh my God, it's your birthday?
It's my birthday, which I normally don't care
brother.
about, but I thought since this is my first ever birthday on a YouTube show, I might as well say, hey,
kidding.
It's my birthday. So this was the best birthday present ever, just to be with all of you great fans and be with you, Darren, and chatting football.
Nice.
Awesome
Good to have you back,
win.
man. Good to have you back.
Great memories forever of that game tonight, and no better way to celebrate a birthday than to talk about it with you fun folks. I love the people on the chat. I love everybody in the stadium, and I love you, Darren, and what a fun night, even though you're wearing a green shirt.
Hey, I hope that makes up for it a little bit, but
everybody totally. I want that shirt, actually. I like green.
It's a comfortable shirt. That's why I'm wearing it. It has nothing to do with the color. Everyone knows out there, you are the fan. Fan is there. Objective observer is here. That's just the way it is. I watch all the CFL games, and I watch them all the same. So it doesn't matter who's playing. But I do get a little bit more enjoyment for the team that I grew up watching and cheering for. I have I like to say I put my fan card in a safe deposit box in an unnamed bank. Nobody knows where it is. It ain't going anywhere for a long time, but I get a lot of satisfaction out of watching you enjoy these games and these wins for the Blue Bombers, and watching 30,000 fans get sweaty and kind of, like letting it all hang out on a Friday night in the summer on a huge win against the Calgary Stampeders. So happy birthday, man. Great to have you back. We'll see you Tuesday at 7:30 on Bonfire Midweek.
Yeah, buddy. And if you want to see crazy fan Zach, then hit up Hustler. He was taking a video of the second Agadosi touchdown.
Okay.
And it was that, yeah. And I tapped him on the shoulder because he was taking a video, and I said, "Look at me," and I was like, "Ah!" I just did the crazy fan thing. So yeah, hopefully maybe he'll post that. You have to ask him.
I'm thinking he will.
And tell me when your birthday is, Darren. Are you
gonna?
Oh no,
I don't want to tell anybody when my birthday is.
Okay, maybe we'll leave that for Tuesday.
It's okay. It's 2 days after Christmas. So like it's when you're born on December 27th, you never get like, your name on the announcements in elementary school, or like people are on vacation when you're at work. It's kind of nice having like a low key birthday mixed in there with Christmas and Hanukkah and Kwanzaa and the rest. I like that. I generally just go out and celebrate with my friends on, like Christmas parties or New Year's Eve,
Yeah.
that sort of thing. I like that. I like that it's a little bit low key, but I will never tell you what year I was born, ever.
Okay.
I usually fool most people anyway, but
Baby,
I'll
'cause you
throw
got
it.
a baby
I
face.
throw in one. I'll throw in one, Zach. I digress. I will take a shot for your birthday because I said I digress. That's the shot word for me here on Bonfire Sports. But yeah, we'll wrap it up with that. Big thanks to everybody for joining us live on YouTube and Facebook and Twitter and the rest. Huge win for the Bombers tonight. They moved to 6-0 and look unbelievable and nearly unstoppable. 26-19. Zach Collaros and the Blue Bombers over Levi Mitchell and the Stampeders. Zach, happy birthday, brother. Great to have you back. We'll see you Tuesday at 7:30.
Okay, thank you, everybody. Ciao.